Kính chào quý vị và các bạn. Hôm nay ngày 8 tháng 10 năm 2012, tôi là Mai Phương.
Còn tôi là Khánh Long. Chương trình Open Việt Nam ngày hôm nay sẽ có những nội dung đáng chú ý sau đây.
Các ngân hàng tiếp tục đưa ra nhiều chương trình ưu đãi cho doanh nghiệp.
Thị trường Hà Nội, chủ đầu tư cơ cấu lại sản phẩm căn hộ chung cư.
Hoạt động xuất khẩu 9 tháng góp phần duy trì ổn định kinh tế vĩ mô.
Triển vọng cho các nhà làm phim trẻ Việt Nam.
Hello and welcome to Sharing Vietnam, our daily show on NETVIET VTC10. And today is a very special day because the young Vietnamese filmmakers are rushing to a competition, and let's find out what it is.
The 48-hour film project is a worldwide competition organized in many cities around the world. In the time limit of 48 hours, teams will have to write, shoot and edit their movies. The movies are required to be from 4 to 7 minutes long. On a Friday night, teams will receive the requirements, a prop, a line of dialogues and a character to include in their films. The film genre for each team is decided through a lottery. And 48 hours later, they must turn in their films, which will be shown in local theaters. In 2012, over 50,000 filmmakers will make almost 4,000 films in 120 cities on 6 continents around the world. The competition has been brought to Vietnam since 2010 by CT producer Ross Stewart.
Today, let's meet with our guest, Ross Stewart.
Hello.
Hello, Ross. Thank you very much for spending time with us in the show today.
That's okay.
And I know that today you will be very busy by 6 p.m. because the competition is coming up.
Totally.
And how is all the preparation for it?
Yeah, it's going great. We have over 50 teams this year, which is actually more than we had last year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the filmmakers will come up with this year.
And you are the city producer of 48-Hour Film Festival in Vietnam.
That's right.
How did you bring the competition to Vietnam?
Well, actually, I've lived here for I've lived here for almost 10 years now, and for the first few years, I was surprised about how there weren't a great deal of competitions, creative competitions here for people. I'd admit I was focusing a lot on kind of what the expats were doing, and then I realized that expats come and go all the time, and it's really hard to be working and kind of create community with them. So the thing that I wanted to focus on was getting to Vietnamese people, and once I started making these networks with the young Vietnamese people, I saw that how active and how creative they were, but they just didn't have that chance to get their work not only seen by Vietnamese people but also the international audience.
Mm-hmm. So you see the need for self-expression among the active young Vietnamese crowd.
Totally, yeah. So I think it's really important that we have competitions like this so that they can really practice and, as you said, really express themselves. And the great thing is that we can get them up onto the big screen in Megastar. So there's not really many competitions that can say that they do that. So.
And you have met with many Vietnamese young people. So how do they receive this competition?
Wow, I mean, it's very mixed. You have some people, especially like people who make films already, they're like, oh no, I would never do this. I like to make films very slowly over, a few months. And then you've got the young people who are just like, yeah, let's go. It's like a sport. It's like a challenge. Let's get in there and have a good time. But it's really funny because those people who actually are in the industry and come and make a film, they're very surprised with how it actually feels to be part of not only their small team, but part of the bigger community. And I think everyone really enjoys it.
So let's take a break to see more clip on 48-hour film festival.
Congratulations, the same.
The Safe won the best film in the Hanoi 48-hour film festival in 2011. The story revolves around a thief who tries to break in a safe by entering the codes from a stolen wallet. The film is suspended with an interesting twist for its ending.
Lại thêm một thằng nữa. Chiếc két này nó chỉ có vẻ bề ngoài thôi con ạ.
Hello and welcome back to Sharing Vietnam. So, hey Ross, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
How are the films in the competition judged?
Well, they're judged on a few different things. Firstly, 45% of the judging goes on basically how the story is, how creative it is, and how original the story is. But only 30% is set aside for how technical the film is, how the shots look, or how the editing or sound is. And then the remaining 25% focuses on whether they've used the genre, the type of film, and whether they've included the main elements of the character, the prop, and the line of dialogue, which we will give everyone tonight at the kickoff.
I see that 35% is quite high, but among independent filmmakers, they might not have the technical or techniques to do professional sounds, professional image. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think visually, the Vietnamese young filmmakers are actually getting quite good at that. Now with the type of technology that they can use for their filmmaking, I'm really quite surprised with their vision and basically how they present that. The main area that they do fall down in is sound, and I think that what we need to do over the next few years is really focus on sound recording, because as you know, in Vietnam it's a very noisy place, and it's very hard to find somewhere that's as quiet as this studio. We need more professionals in the sound industry, and also a better knowledge of sound recording just for 48.
And what kind of equipment they can use in replacement of those, or those are the only choices?
Well, I mean, pretty much. I mean, if you're looking at a very cheap, basic option, you can even just use like a little MP3 or MP4 recorder, or like a normal voice recorder that has like a headphone jack, and they're quite cheap and inexpensive. But the industry kind of standard, it would be like a Zoom recorder or something like that, which again, is a few $100s, but if they buy it and actually use it, then it would pay for itself, and especially if their film looks great, it'll be much worthwhile.
Yeah, I see. How do Vietnamese films stand in comparison with films from other countries?
Well, I think it's a really interesting question, because the thing that Vietnam has going for it is the exotic scenes that Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi has. They're very unique. They're unlike China, they're unlike Singapore or even Thailand. So I think that the films that are going to win this year are the ones that really encapsulate what Vietnam looks like, especially what Hanoi looks like. Because Hanoi, everywhere you look is an amazing kind of scene, even if it's just a wall in an alleyway or something like that, let alone all the lakes and the monuments you have. So I think what Vietnam has going for it is not only those scenes, but the stories. The stories here of Vietnamese people are very unique and unlike anywhere else in the world. Mm-hmm. So the films that present the scenes and the story, make them, even better than a lot of the films overseas, just because people don't know about these different areas.
Can you give some example of unique stories?
Well, the winning film last year, Can Ba Ba, whereas for Vietnamese people, eating a turtle in soup, is quite a normal thing that everyone does every day. But to an international audience, they would have no kind of idea that people actually did this, because they see turtles as being very old creatures, very lucky creatures and things like that. So eating them in soup is just like a very foreign thing to them. So that they find that kind of thing very interesting, and especially how you have two young street kids trying to save this turtle. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even though it's a very cute, kind of story, and as I said, very similar to experiences that a lot of young people here in Vietnam have to overseas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's your advice to filmmakers is to play a little bit on the cultural differences?
Of course. I think that's what the international audience is going to find interesting. Try not make a very westernized film. Try and localize it here, because we have over 125 different cities around the world, and more than half of those are either Western, European, or American, or Australian. So it'll be those kind of little things that the judges will be looking for.
Hello everyone in Ho Chi Minh City. This is Philip Noyce here in Hollywood, sending you greetings on the beginning of the 48-hour film project Vietnam. Last year from Ho Chi Minh City, I saw one of the most amazing short films I think that I've seen for years. The story of young children and their turtle. What a wonderful story that was. What a deserving winner that went on to attract international attention. And I hope that this year we're going to find films just as good as that from Ho Chi Minh City.
Is it because we are an Asian country? So, and the judges are from America, from Western countries, so they expect something unique or something exotic from different cultures?
Well, I think that's true, but
is it what they expect from an Asian country?
I'm not sure if that's what they expect, but you look at reality. If you're watching 125 films and are trying to find which one is best, storyline is going to be part of it, and the technical quality is also going to be part of it. But in the end, and just like even in the cinema these days, a lot of the big kind of surprising films that are coming out come from countries that people don't know much about, don't know enough about the culture. And if they learn something through the film, I think that's what really makes people feel interested. I mean, we've seen so many blockbusters from the UK, from America, and it's the same story again and again and again. So I think everyone's looking for something new, because film has been around for a long time.
I see. And as the competition is getting more and more popular among young filmmakers in Vietnam, do you think that there's really a film market for young filmmakers in Vietnam?
Well, I think that there's going to be a lot of people that have to come into this to try and help with the development. Obviously, government is going to need to try and find more funding for the young people, and also to get their work onto TV and also into film. But it's also going to be the audience as well. The audience at the moment watches like the big blockbusters, and they watch HBO and Star World and those kind of things, whereas the kind of local productions, people haven't really seen a good enough quality in the general kind of Vietnamese TV and filmmaking.
Are independent filmmakers in Australia get funding from the government?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of funding that comes from government. But, you know, it's always a risk, and, you know, some money goes here, some money goes there, but overall, you need to be spending that money. You need to make those opportunities possible for young people. Otherwise, you know, the whole scene just isn't going to improve. So,
And one last question for you. What is your plan in the future with 48-hour film festival?
Well, next year we're looking at changing it slightly. We're going to introduce some new programs. One of those may be a 48-hour music video competition. So the good thing about this, and it's something that I've wanted to work on for a while, is connecting musicians with filmmakers. At the moment, a lot of filmmakers will just take music from somewhere without actually legally owning that music for the film. And really, once you get into commercial filmmaking or even filmmaking for festivals, you just can't do that. You have to legally have the rights to that. So in Vietnam, we have so many great musicians that at the moment they aren't connected to a point where they can approach a musician and say, look, we want you to create some music for us. Just because there's not that network. A lot of people may have friends that can do it, which is great, but if you're looking for something very specific, then you should go to a very specific musician. So by having this 48-hour music video competition, we hope to put together like a database and also a website of music made in Vietnam by local artists that can be used in film, and we can connect those kind of people. So that's probably the big thing for next year.
That probably will help young filmmakers a lot. And good luck with 48-hour film festival this year.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that concludes our show for today. Thank you for watching Sharing Vietnam. If you have any questions or comments, please send your questions or comments to our email at sharingvietnam@gmail.com. See you next time.